The Range Rover SV Autobiography Dynamic is a uniquely bespoke luxury SUV that goes from 0 to 60 in just 5.5 seconds and costs a whopping £164,000. Heady territory, even for a brand synonymous with off-road excellence.
The Range Rover is our flagship vehicle, and it is a great vehicle, and most people just love the way it is. But there are people that want the vehicle more individual to them, and that's what SVA is about.
The SV Autobiography Dynamic is a direct response to a changing market and new competition.
By 2020, they reckon there's going to be 20 million SU-type vehicles globally. That's a lot of vehicles, and that's a big market.
And there are lots of great competitors coming into the marketplace from above us and below us.
It makes me smile because, you know, bring it on. Be warned, we've been doing it for a long time. That doesn't mean to say we sit on our laurels, but you better be good to compete with us.
They've sort of been exploring how high they can go with pricing in SUV. No one really knows yet. There are $400,000, $500,000 sports cars. There are really expensive sedans that are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, but no one has taken that with the SUV yet. So they're still looking for the ceiling of how high you can go.
That luxury exploration takes place back at the Special Vehicle Operations Workshop.
Solihull over the last 10 years has been absolutely transformed. I mean, it's a huge business now. It's state-of-the-art, very, very mechanized, very efficient. Here we're much more focused on individual cars. It's much more handcrafted. It's much more about the people and people interacting with the vehicles. So chalk and cheese, really. The takt time certainly isn't 49 seconds, maybe 49 days.
Land Rover spends over £20 million building the 20,000 square metre facility and models it after a Formula One team garage.
If you look at any facility around, there's not really anything to this sort of standard.
The build begins when a fully functional Range Rover arrives from the Solihull factory.
It's a complete vehicle, and it comes into this facility, and we'll then take parts out and refit new parts, or we'll modify parts. So we'll add new options onto the vehicle, essentially.
Basically selling them that dream that that car is bespoke and it's theirs, nobody else's.
It's a quiet, artisanal workshop where nothing is rushed.
They're going to be building an autobiography build on this car, so there's quite a lot involved. Bumpers off, seats out, change the console with champagne coolers in. Nice little touches here, there, all over the car, really.
The bespoke conversion takes two craftspeople roughly 5.5 hours.
Probably 50-ish parts, something like that. So some are obviously quite large, like the centre console, and then the coaches are really small, so.
We're seeing a huge shift in the entire automotive industry that went from hand-built cars very early on to mass production. Mass production means that the companies get to survive, but it also means you as a consumer don't have anything different than anyone else. I think it's genius that all of these car companies are recognizing that small, one-off stuff is way more special to people in the luxury market.
Luxury clientele that are as much fanboys as anything else.
All sorts of people, obviously people with money, sports, superstars, car enthusiasts, lottery winners. And the nice thing is we get to see them. They'll come in themselves and watch us building their car. It's nice to know that the car you're building for somebody, they want to come and watch you build it.
Customers aren't the only ones who recognize the difference.
It's more take your time, get it for the right first time, no rushing around sort of thing.
Gets in your blood after a while. It's a great pleasure, great pleasure.
There's not many about. If you're lucky enough to have one, then you're a select few, really.
Owners aren't the only lucky ones.
Took me over 2 years to get in here. I was born in the UK. I'm 23 now, so lucky to be here at an early age as well.
The bespoke build actually starts with disassembly. They remove the front fascia, take out the standard front and rear seats, and unbolt the original center console.
You get a lot of independence, obviously, you got a lot of responsibility. It's mostly one-offs. Anything that happens to the interior, you can't get it very quick again.
The bespoke transformation continues as artisans add custom rear badging, aluminium milled paddle shifters and foot pedals, a new center console that features a champagne refrigerator, and luxury 20-way adjustable heated seats.
When the vehicle's finished here, it goes through an auditing process, so we'll make sure that it's perfect for the customer. It can't be an SVA unless you put it through the process that we have to put it through. And we spend some time tweaking and adjusting, making sure that everything is as good as it possibly can be.
Finally, after 4 factory visits and more than 2 days of assembly, a Range Rover SV Autobiography Dynamic is ready to hit the open road.
The SV Autobiography is really just taking the Range Rover and pushing the car in terms of its luxury credentials. The long wheelbase, it's all about the second row, it's all about comfort, it's all about refinement. It's, you know, it's all about first-class travel, really.
I suppose some people probably see Range Rover as a rugged 4x4 off-road car. But, you know, when you look at one of these, you really see that actually, from a luxury point of view, they really are quite special. I wouldn't mind being chauffeured around in one of them, let's say.
The Autobiography tries to take the SUV as far into the luxury realm as it can go, where you have a beautiful interior with the nicest, softest leathers. You've got more wood, you've got special things like a cooler in the back seat, you've got adjustable rear seats, business class seating. The Autobiography pushes how high Land Rover can go into the luxury realm.
Cars like Range Rover exist because people love them, not because they need them. No one needs to be able to drive across the Sahara. They buy these cars because they want them. And what better way to hook them than saying, we'll make anything you want, exactly the way you want it, so it's really yours.
The SV Autobiography Dynamic is bespoke and expensive, yet still an extremely capable off-road machine.
There's clarity of purpose to the Range Rover that I adore, and I think customers like too. It looks tough, it looks boxy, it's simple, no gimmicks.
Certainly not easy to have luxury and off-road ability in the same vehicle, and that's sort of their challenge. The view out is probably the best part, though. You have this expansive view. The Range Rovers have always had huge windows that you can see out of easily. So you have this really wonderful, airy view of the world. And in traffic, they just feel special.
Super capable SUV that can go anywhere. But also, this is a luxury SUV. This is quiet and comfortable, and I want to drive this thing every single day.
Every time you get in a Range Rover, you sort of forget that you look down on people. And I mean that literally and figuratively, because you are really high. These are tall vehicles. And then you realize you're also in an interior that's nicer than anyone else's.
Those expansive views are backed up by some hidden high tech.
Range Rover hit all of those targets by putting the hardware in for it to go off-road. The differential locks that it needs, the ground clearance that it needs, air suspension to raise the whole chassis, but then not forcing the user to understand how all of it works, but giving a very simple rotary selector knob that says, I'm in mud.
The four-wheel drive system is controlled by a simple twist of a knob.
The computer then knows which things to lock and which things to do to get you through there. It's a nice middle ground where it has the hardware to do all of these things, but the software that makes it easier for the user to do.
An ease of use that harkens back to the brand's very beginnings.
The great thing about Land Rovers is they're very simple to drive. I mean, a lot of people started driving them when they were 10, 11, 12 years old in fields or off the main highway. You know, kids want to go everywhere. They want to go places that no one else has been. They want to be places that maybe you're not allowed to go. And that's why Land Rovers are great, because they allow you to go to these places.
Today, those early explorations and adventures are not only the brand's hallmark, but also fundamental to the Range Rover experience.
The Range Rover is the only vehicle in the world where you can drive across Africa and still get valeted right up front at the club. You can't do that with anything else.
It's a tremendous range of versatility that highlights both the machine's heritage and its enduring success.
If you go way back, the British automotive industry went into decline, and now we're coming out of that, and I'm very, very proud of that. What motivates me is really wanting to leave a legacy that is a business that is respected the world over.
It's a legacy full of adventure, sophistication, and now ultimate luxury.
I think the key to their success is to continue doing luxury stuff and sort of follow the Rolls-Royce path and creating these bespoke interiors, offering options that nobody else has. I think that's going to separate them from the rest of the competition.
The Range Rover SV Autobiography Dynamic, the most extreme expression from the world's first luxury SUV company. And perhaps the cornerstone to continuing the brand's remarkable legacy.